Dire team ban.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the NXTGame Invitational. We have another best of 3 on the way. It is a little bit late, perhaps, but sometimes that's just out of your control. It's going to be K2.Apes going up against MSI Evo in, well, should be a pretty interesting game. MSI Evo, a newly formed team, although the name has been around for a long time, and there's not much that's known about Apes. So betting and, well, predicting who's going to be the favorites might be a little bit difficult here, but regardless, let's see what we have on our hands. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by Danelie for this best of 3. How are you doing?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good for this one, but I don't know anything about these teams. I think I know a couple of players, but I don't even know who's who aside from Cast, because no one aside from Cast is using their tag for MSI.
BB is Boombacks, and then everyone else.
That makes sense.
I would assume that it is Boombacks. It could be something completely different. I don't know.
We'll just have to guess as we go along. Who knows?
Yeah, so it is.
10 seconds remaining.
You guys could figure out the official rosters yourself, and then you could do some guessing because lots of them had their profiles set to private and everything like that. So hard for us to figure out for you guys, and well, if this is private, we just can't do anything about it. So it's pretty much mostly old Rave with a couple of replacements. One from Execration, I believe, and then someone else from who was it?
10 seconds remaining.
I don't remember. It was a while ago, but either way, it doesn't matter because we have ourselves a draft, and Bloodseeker's gonna be banned out in the first phase, leaving Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, Gyrocopter, Clockwork, a whole bunch of selections here for K2.Apes, who are like, if you do some research on K2.Apes, you'll find nothing because there's just nothing out there.
So that's going to make it a little bit interesting. So what do they want to put emphasis on into that first pick? I'm actually probably expecting MSI to pick up the Earthshaker. I'm pretty sure every Southeast Asian game we've casted, there's been one, at least the team that has second pick always picks up Earthshaker +1. Always. So we're just going to make the assumption that Earthshaker is going to be picked up. K2.Apes, so if we knew anything about them, then we would probably know what they want to go for, but you've already pointed out the more popular picks.
Yeah, Winter Wyvern also, add that one to the list if they want to go for that pseudo-defensive, maybe slower support hero. Earthshaker, on that note, like, does get a little bit better when you pick him up with someone else. Like, you get flexibility, I guess, because you pick him up. If you're like K2.Apes right now, you pick up Earthshaker, then you really get to see what your Earthshaker is going to be countering, and that's like kind of nice. But for MSI right now, picking up someone like Shadow Fiend Shaker to go up against his Queen of Pain, just as a combo, as being able to slam those two at the same time is slightly better. I don't know how much these teams actually like consider those types of things when they go into their picks, but Queen of Pain is the first pick. Probably can't get any more safe as far as heroes to select first, and we'll see what MSI wants to respond to with this. Again, just take 2 from that list that I presented earlier, and you're probably going to be correct.
Do you really want to take 2 from your list, though? Because a lot of the heroes that you mentioned, they're core heroes. And when you draft those, if you draft 2 core heroes as the first 2 picks, you're giving away a lot to the enemy in terms of what you really want to run. Interesting first pick, Danelie for MSI. It's going to give them a lot of survivability, and if they want to, they can go for the negative armor strat. So, as you mentioned before, Shadow Fiend is open if they want to go in that direction. Oh, Earthshaker, hello!
Wow, so good. So good at predicting. What are MSI going to grab next? Please tell us right now. Dazzle Shaker, though. It's a nice defensive support duo. Offensively, they can't really do that much. If you are ganking into a particularly strong lane, such as a Gyrocopter lane or again a Shadow Fiend lane, then Earthshaker stun in and of itself will be value. But it seems like MSI with these 2 supports want to take this game a little bit slower. They want to babysit a support, like really babysit a support, and then just take it into the late game, because if the Queen of Pain gets out of control, if their mid lane hero needs some help, I don't know if Shaker Dazzle can really do that much to at least kill off the Queen of Pain. They'll be able to defend their mid lane, but that's not going to help them win the lane. It's just going to help them not lose the lane.
But what... Also remember though, like they might even just go for a draft where they go for a farming mid hero. So they don't have to win their lanes if they're running a more greedy lineup. They just have to make sure that they can either stay even with them or be a little bit behind. Silencer as a second pickup, the K2. Well, this is going to be a pain in the ass for the supports at least, especially when the global silence is up. The Dazzle cannot do anything, and Shallow Grave is his bread and butter in those team fights, so it's going to be a big problem for him. But because the silencer is picked up
10
second,
seconds
MSI,
remaining.
they can draft heroes that can play around the silencer. If they have to, they can probably
5
just go for
seconds
burst draft and
remaining.
kill off the silencer before he even pops the global.
Yeah, go for heroes that are a little bit
Reserve time.
sneakier, Nyx Assassin, offlane or something like that. Any hero with Invis or Blink or anything like that. Yes, Silencer, like, situationally will be able to get some kills with that global silence. I assume he's going to play it as a support right now. That may or may not change given a couple more picks, but burst him down,
Radiant
and
team
really the counters for
banned.
Silencer are not too dissimilar from the counters of Queen of Pain. Just a lot of quick damage. Already you would expect most of the quick damage from most teams to come out from the supports, so MSI
Dire
kind of on the
team
receiving
banned.
end of the downside of their opening is that they're super defensive and they won't really be able to punish a Silencer. Hell, even in lane, if it is going to be a Silencer tri-lane, Shaker and Dazzle up against that will not have a great time. Curse of the Silent absolutely wrecks an Earthshaker
10
because
seconds
Shaker doesn't get a lot of
remaining.
experience. He's most of the time going to hold on to a level 1 Fissure, and he really can't expend
5
mana.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's actually going to be one of Earthshaker's major problems, I think, because him being a hero
Reserve
that has a
time.
very low mana pool, Curse the Silence just going to destroy him, like you said. Now, because the
Radiant
silence was
team
picked up, though,
banned.
this means that K2 has a little less wiggle room when it comes to drafting heroes that have disables, because if this is going to be a support silencer is going to provide you nothing compared to what a Dazzle and an Earthshaker would. He's going to give a little bit of harassment,
10
but
seconds
there's no
remaining.
gank potential with him unless you pair him up with two heroes that have some sort of disable
5
to lock
seconds
down that
remaining.
primary target. So I don't know how K2 wants to play with the silencer, if it's going to be maybe a safe lane
Reserve
farming
time.
silencer, mid silencer maybe, and shift the Queen of Pain into the off lane role. But I guess with these two heroes, K2, they have a lot of options open because these heroes can go anywhere.
Yeah, despite the fact that they do have those options, however, this Silencer as a second pick is, I mean, maybe it'll mess with MSI's head and that has some value, but it is not really a good pick. You can get Silencer last
Dire
pick
team
every
pick.
single game that you play, pretty much without exception. Unless there's some sort of metagaming thing going on between these two teams, which is possible, but unlikely. Silencer is just never a hero that a team considers, so they could have drafted, you know, this third pick second, and then it would have kept MSI on a, oh, there's no Silencer, we're going to do whatever we want type plan. With an IO pick, however, for MSI, things get even more interesting. This is
10
a hero
seconds
that
remaining.
Silencer actually does decently well against. If you see the IO
5
relocating in,
seconds
you just pop the
remaining.
global silence, and then the relocate in doesn't actually do that much, or at least it won't really do that much if
Reserve
the
time.
IO partner is not incredibly farmed. This is going to shove the Earthshaker to an off-lane role, in which case, like a K2.Apes solo lane silencer would destroy the Shaker again.
This is really interesting Wisp pick. So are they just going to go for the standard tiny pick with this Wisp, or are there any other heroes that you could actually pick up with the Wisp instead? I think Tiny would be okay up against a silencer. I think Bristleback would have been an even nicer hero just because he doesn't need any of his spells. But K2 pick it up themselves.
Yeah, I like the pick from K2. Like, if you have a Silencer, Queen of Pain, obviously these two heroes are really soft, Silencer especially, so you need kind of a front line for those two heroes to hide behind. And as you said, Bristleback up against Silencer, Queen of Pain would have been probably MSI's pick of choice there. So it is going to be K2 with a little bit of a block pick. However, it does work
10
very well for
seconds
themselves.
remaining.
Second picking a Bristleback is a lot, or it's still not standard,
5
but it's a lot more
seconds
standard than a
remaining.
second pick Silencer. But at this point, MSI, they have this IO. Yesterday we saw IO with Morphling. I don't think we're going to be
Reserve time.
seeing that again, especially up against Silencer. But yeah, as far as options for this IO, Gyro is still in the pool. I do think that Wisp Gyro is a possible combo, or they could just go real deep if they really want burst. Go for an Ursa, because he kills off Silencers really quickly.
But Ursa has an issue. He's got kiting issues. That's the problem with Ursa. Even with the Wisp, he needs a way to get into the fights, whether it be a Force Staff, a Blink Dagger, or maybe I don't know, some silly strategy like having a tiny toss you in, which is never going to happen, by the way. I have never seen it, and I never think it will ever happen. But he just needs a way to get into the fights, and even a relocate's not good enough because it gives K2 a lot of time to actually see where a potential Ursa would be coming in. So Ursa would be nice, but I think that MSI would really have to cater around that Ursa pick.
Alright, I'm not sure if I'm just making things up in my head right now, but Rave, dual lane, IO, Legion Commander, was that a thing, or am I thinking about someone else? Because that would be actually pretty legit here. I don't know.
It's a
Well, I
tiny.
guess it's kind of moot at this point.
Oh well, it's still Tiny is a fun hero to watch sometimes, just seeing some of the tosses. But no, I like this fine. This is absolutely fine. Tiny Wisp, they're going to be okay up against a Silencer. Yes, that means Tiny is potentially not going to get the combo off, but he's actually okay just to go into the middle of the fights because he still has Craggy. He is still going to be very tanky once he gets that Aghanim Scepter. And also, there's going to be the supports behind him. So when the global is down and the Tiny is still up, then he's going to get a lot of backup from those two
5
heroes.
seconds
Because
remaining.
you have to consider that MSI supports, they do not have to be in the middle of the fight at all. They can just sit
Reserve time.
behind the Tiny Wisp and just throw all their spells and let Tiny just do everything for them.
Yeah, but of course, Tiny needs a little bit of time, a little bit of farm to get to that stage, and K2.Apes will, in theory, have a period where the cores of MSI, looking like Tiny and Earthshaker at this point, will not really be
10
comparable to the
seconds
cores of
remaining.
K2.Apes. Like, Queen of Pain hits her stride a lot earlier, and I like this pick. They're going to punish that
Radiant
fact.
team
Like, Io and
ban.
Dazzle, though they are incredibly good defensive heroes, as far as their offensive capabilities, they have none. They're really just heroes to amplify the Tiny. And if Tiny has to deal with the Spirit Breaker charge and has to deal with kiting issues in the Queen of Pain and can't cast
10
any spells, so he
seconds
can't get that
remaining.
insta-kill combo off, then he's going to be really upset. So K2.Apes suddenly getting
5
a whole bunch of
seconds
tanky
remaining.
heroes after this Silencer, and if you mix up the order at which they drafted this,
Reserve
then they
time.
have more or less a standard draft plus Silencer. So it's also a
10
very good draft
seconds
just to
remaining.
respond to an IO Tiny combo, something like a Disruptor as the last
5
pick, and
seconds
K2.Apes'
remaining.
draft is looking super solid, at least compared to what MSI have.
Dire
Yeah, actually,
team
Disruptor
ban.
would be a very interesting hero. It's not banned out either, so it is available if they want to go for it. But man, this base cow. So, K2's draft. What does it look like they want to achieve with this draft? Is it just supposed to be this constant ganking
10
draft? They have a
seconds
Queen of Pain
remaining.
that's going to be considerably mobile. You're going to have the Spirit Breaker with global
5
presence, and you
seconds
now have
remaining.
and you have the Silencer as well with the global. Is it just constant ganking? Because you look at their
Reserve
draft, their pushing potential is nil.
5
Are they just
seconds
hoping to win
remaining.
by ganking?
Probably. I mean, they have a lot of ganking power. Just with the Spirit Breaker, you will have that. And if they could
Radiant
get
team pick.
into the MSI base before this IO Tiny really gets off, then I don't really know what MSI can do at that stage. Phantom Lancer to be banned out, though MSI really do need a hero that is capable of fighting early on. Again, Gyrocopter's still in the pool. Really weird to see Gyrocopter not being picked up or banned by this stage, so it is a possible pick for MSI. It's a hero that, though it is really fragile
10
versus what
seconds
K2 have, lots of bursts, lots of stuns on their side. They just need someone
5
who is able
seconds
to
remaining.
hold down the fort. Bloodseeker type heroes would have also been really nice, but what's it
Reserve
going to be?
time.
Not much time. Timbersaw.
Wow.
Alright, if he has 2 strength heroes, I could buy it,
Dire
but
team pick.
Silencer does typically pretty well up against Timbersaw.
I love watching Timbersaw. He's such a fun hero. But yeah, he is going to have some issues with the Silencer, but if he can get around the Silencer, he's going to go ham. Look at K2's draft. How are they going to control the Timbersaw once the global's down, aside from curse the last word, sorry. There's nothing to deal with that Timbersaw. So I like MSI's draft a lot more than
10
K2 at the
seconds
moment, just because
remaining.
it's more well-rounded and it's not based around one
5
ultimate.
seconds
Because you look at
remaining.
K2's draft, it feels like it's just based around the global. Now, they add another mobility hero into their draft, which is going to be the Storm Spirit. This K2 draft, I really do not like it at all. It feels very unbalanced in terms of what they need. Everyone's so greedy.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the Storm Spirit pickup. It is going to mean that Silencer's going to be played support, but even though Storm Spirit's good at chasing that Timbersaw IO, and getting the jump on a Shaker, yeah, the Storm Spirit pick I think should have been a Disruptor, and then, give the Spirit Breaker a little bit more farm, but for K2.Apes, it looks like it's just going to be Spirit Breaker Silencer as a support duo, which doesn't actually... I mean, they kind of pull in different directions. We mentioned earlier, Silencer doesn't actually do that much as far as ganking heroes, and Spirit Breaker kind of does everything when ganking heroes. So there's a mismatch there. The heroes don't really work well together in that regard, and well, we'll see if it actually does work out well in the long run. I'm being told we have... Okay, you are apparently really freaking loud for some reason, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
try to turn you down, I guess, a little bit.
that'll be fine. That's cool. No one needs to hear me. It's fine.
Alright, hopefully that is slightly better. I could just jack my own volume, but then that thing gets really, really Then it gets really messy when I start messing with my own volume.
Just turn me down. Just turn me down. It's fine, Mike. It's fine.
I'm trying. I don't know if
Yes,
it's going to be
take the
enough. There's so
spotlight.
much delay.
I know, it doesn't help 4 minutes delay, so Twitch can tell us if we're louder or quieter in 4 minutes.
Alright. And, oh yes, guys, we also have a stats man. Shout out to Petty, who is going to be providing you with, hopefully, very important stats in this game, and that is not a good place to have this logo, so we're going to drop it down here. And we are off to the races. Hopefully the audio is going to be a little bit better, guys, but again, there's so much delay as required by the TOs that it's really, really hard to tell. It was fine yesterday, unless everyone was just not telling us yesterday, which would have been really mean of them. But we have MSI Evo. We have a lot of unofficial names. Like, I have no idea who this Earthshaker is, but he's sleepy and he's been playing on the top lane. There should be Boombacks on the IO, very comfortable with that hero, the Piano Man. Please sing us a song. He's going to be playing on the Tiny with Cast, on the Dazzle, and then someone named Saber on the Timbersaw. Again, we have no idea who these players are because official names are not on the ticket. Or there's no ticket, so there's no official names.
Too many puns. So we got Wen playing on the Queen of Pain, who looks like he's going to be the first one to encounter all the MSI heroes, or are they going to be able to avoid each other? The Piano Man, he sees Queen of Pain, but they can't really do anything at this point. We got Vegeta playing on the Silencer. I think he is an official player, and that is also his official name, so very helpful of him. Playing on our Bristleback, we have Haruni, we have Kidal on the Spirit Breaker, and lastly we have, oh, how am I going to say this? RJ, oh, the Storm Spirit.
Sure. It seems about right. The Queen of Pain actually managed to slip an Observer Ward into this tree. I didn't think she would get close enough for that, but this is going to block off a couple of camps, and the secondary observer not going to block anything else. But yeah, this is already going to make things a little bit more inconvenient for this duo in the mid lane. And it looks like the hero to be on the receiving end of this duo is actually going to be a Bristleback. Usually it's going to be a Queen of Pain in this type of situation, but really this lane is going to excel by doing stuff like this, just throwing out an avalanche, constantly poking and prodding. And right now, Bristleback is still going to take a lot of damage from it, but down the line, man, he's going to be able to tank that one up really easily. Avalanche Toss is always going to be deadly to any hero, pretty much no questions asked, but will eventually be a little more resistant. Down to his bottom lane, we have Kidal trying to bait out the Queen of Pain as Cass is going ham onto this Quap. With the Shadow Wave level 1, Kidal putting a lot of damage back in. Saber, unfortunately, a level 1 Timbersaw can't really do that much right now, but we're having a 2v2 scenario over in the bottom lane, and it seems a very delicate one.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Pause already! Well, I guess it's better to have pauses in the beginning of the game compared to mid-game. If it happened during a team fight, that would be absolutely tragic. So, with the lanes though, looks pretty good for both sides, aside from maybe that mid lane, Haruni. This is just not a happy Bristleback. He's already 2-3-1 tanker, as well as a salve. So, for MSI, this mid lane is doing absolutely 100% fine. I don't even think Bristleback has any CS. He doesn't. So he's not getting anything in this mid lane. Up top, it's just 100% K2. There's no one up here farming, which I feel MSI should have at least somebody either sitting at the tower waiting for their
up there, but he wanted to roam or something. There's not much that you could actually do up against this top lane. Like, Storm Spirit will be just fine, and Silencer, as far as a poking hero in lane, is actually really effective because, well, he has Glaives of Wisdom level 1. Shaker is kind of going to be okay with that because that means Curse of the Silent isn't up at level 1, but yeah, this Shaker, if he is going to try to go up in this top lane, he will not get anything done. It's just too dangerous for him. So roaming around towards mid, even making a full defensive tri-lane up against this Queen of Pain seems much better. The only chance they actually kill Queen of Pain in this lane is that she gets a little bit too close to the creep wave, they burst her down with the Shadow Wave and the Timbersaw combo. But if they have a Fissure, then they open up a lot more opportunities.
He really wants to get the kill under Haruni. Now remember, this is a Bristleback and he has 1 point into Bristleback, so getting the kill may be a little bit harder than they want to. No, he's going to head back into lane. So he just doesn't see an opportunity. The creep wave is just way too pushed in. Haruni looks like he's going to live for another day. Or is Sleepy just going to rotate around? He's thinking about what to do. He wants to take the rune first, I think. Unless he's going to give it to the Wisp. Oh no, I think they're going to pop the bottle onto Sleepy and give it to him. No? Okay, no. Never mind. I have no idea what's going on.
Getting the IO levels, getting the IO the gold. They're going to land a Fissure onto this Bristleback. Looking for the Avatar's combo. Will land perfectly. Still, the Bristleback, though, is going to survive. And Kill is going to charge right to the back and slow down Boombacks. Yet still, the Tiny's chasing forward. Looks like they won't have enough to kill off the pig. They're going to try to go for the cow, though Tiny has a lot of quills on him. Really has to be careful. Fissure going to connect onto 2. That won't kill off either hero. Toss the Shaker. That's going to get the Shaker the kill. First blood being drawn by So effing Sleepy. And it was a slow one. It's not the kill that they really wanted. The Bristleback solo mid is obviously a little bit more desirable. But still, it's first blood being drawn by MSI, and on this, well, now forced to be roaming Earthshaker.
It's probably the best scenario for the Earthshaker, for him to get first blood as well. It's gold in his pocket and also some EXP. And, well, because it's not in the top lane, what can he really do about it? Because they're running an offlane Earthshaker, he can't go into the jungle, which is the biggest disadvantage of running an Earthshaker. So if he keeps up with the rotations and if they can keep getting kills on him, then it should be okay. But it looks like he's going to be confident and head into that top lane to just soak up some EXP. Down bottom, though, it looks like it's been relatively quiet, although we might see a little bit of action soon because Wen is dropping pretty low, and our Space Cow Keedal, he's waiting in the tree line. He's going to spot out the Dazzle, but it looks like both teams are just going to kind of hang back and not really do anything for the moment. It's a bit too early.
Dazzle can poke at the Spirit Breaker, but if you poke the cow too much, he just may charge. And then Dazzle is going to be a little bit of a sticky situation. The Timbersaw matchup versus Queen of Pain, assuming it is going to be, for the most part, just 1 versus 1, is actually not too terrible for the Timber. Queen of Pain has quite a bit of base damage, but Timber already with this reactive armor working is getting a lot of regen in between those attacks. So when we'll put a lot of heat towards this Timber. Actually surprised she hasn't gone for any sort of Shadow Strike in this lane, as Timbersaw usually is going to be pretty close to the creep wave. You could usually land that pretty freaking easily, but no one's going to go for the straight up burst. Speaking of burst, mid lane, Fissure going to connect, Avalanche Toss just not quite in time, so Shaker still providing some pressure, but yeah, he's not actually getting that much, I guess. I mean, level 3 for a pseudo off-lane roaming Shaker is not terrible, but it seems like MSI with this setup are pretty much down a core hero. They have a whole bunch of supports.
Well, I wouldn't really want to call him a support there here. An Avalanche Toss combo. Looks like they want to try and jump onto Harini again, but a lot of tower harassment thrown out onto Piano Man. Oh, Fissure on the wrong side. Very unfortunate there for MSI. If that did land correctly, I think that would have still blocked him off, actually. Oh, I think there would have been a small bit for Piano Man to go through, but would have still been risky as it was in tower range.
Which still is applying a lot of pressure to this Bristleback. He's getting a lot of experience, now a little bit of CS, but he's still pretty far behind where a mid-hero wants to be. Tiny has about the CS of where a mid-hero wants to be at this stage, and Bristleback won't be able to easily get that, even with level 3 quills, which is possible to last hit with. He knows that if he steps up, there is probably going to be an Avalanche Toss combo waiting for him, and at that point there's not much that he could do. Saber down towards bottom lane, going to get surrounded right now. Spirit Breaker and Queen of Pain. Scream connects. Kiddo looking for a bash right now. If he gets one bash, this may be a kill, but no. Rolling twice, not going to get any. 3 times, still not going to get any. Charges through onto the backline, but now Kiddo's overcommitted. There's a Whirling Death that'll destroy his health pool. He will not have any follow-up again because Dazzle has really not much to help out except for survivability.
I think even if they tried to jump on the heroes, there would have still been the shallow grave. So just, what can the Spirit Breaker really do aside from harassment? He can't do anything else. If he wants to try and rotate into the mid lane, they're going to have to move someone from that top lane to go and help them out. I think they might just be waiting for the Storm Spirit to come in, because he would probably be the best hero to try and jump into the mid lane. Harini, they're going to be tossed up into the air, followed up by the Avalanche. It looks like he's going to actually try and fight the Piano Man. And look at how much damage he's taking, although there is going to be the heals coming out from now Wisp here, and it looks like they will be able to survive. TP in from Cast, and everyone on the side of K2 is repelled. They even brought the Storm Spirit too.
Yeah, that's a commitment of a very early TP from the Storm Spirit, and he's going to get the bounty rune, but he actually doesn't have a bottle, so it's a little bit inconvenient for him. He's going to be completely out of mana for quite a long time. Fissure is going to block him out, but he'll just jump right over it. No big deal for the Storm Spirit, and a little chase for him, but they won't actually get it. Boombax's spirits in that point were super spread out, so it seems like they weren't confident in their ability to get that Bristleback kill. They just wanted to scout out if anyone was actually going to be coming in, which is, I guess, nice, but ooh, bottom lane. Okay, they tried to go for Timbersaw, apparently, and I just was sleeping. Sorry, guys, still early, and that's my excuse. It's a terrible one. It's not really an excuse, but Timbersaw cleans house in the bottom lane. Anyway, if you dive a tier 1 tower like that, then yeah, you're probably going to be punished by a Timbersaw Dazzle combo.
Yeah, it was mainly the Dazzle. The shallow grave saving his life there, and just being able to get those 2 counter kills when they were trying to back up was really nice there for MSI. So looks like we're going to have a lot of action in the mid lane. So the charge is going to come through. Do they really want to go on the Wisp though? It's actually at half HP. He has no bottle on him because it actually sends it back. And it looks like they will get the kill onto the Wisp.
Oh.
And they're going to try and chase after Piano Man. But that was a miss screen by Wen. He will be fished down. He has a blink available in 5 seconds. And it looks like, does MSI want to commit? And they don't have any more disables. There is another charge. They want to go onto Sleepy. And it looks like they will get this very sleepy Earthshaker with the final quills from our Bristleback. Oh, MSI. Good stuff by K2. They're seeing that opportunity.
Yeah, bringing in, again, a lot of these mobile heroes and starting to get the aggressive train up. Again, Piano Man, he can... Oh, goodness, he's going to get Avalanche. Toss up on the Queen of Pain, who just dove him. Kittle a little bit too late on the charge. Probably could have set up that kill if he was the first one to go in, but Queen of Pain... well, she made the jump first, so they get the tiny kill, which is nice, but yeah, at the cost of the Queen of Pain, which is, at this point, a pretty steep cost. Io, maybe going to get the kill onto the Spirit Breaker. No, only level 2 spirits at this point. Not going to get it, but still going to force him at least all the way back to the base. It's a bloodbath over in the mid lane, and K2, they are starting their rotations rather early. And this is, again, what they should be looking to do throughout this entire game. Use the mobility, use the ganking power, and use the weakness of an Io and, situationally a Dazzle to actually get these kills and try to slow down this Tiny. They have the Storm Spirit right now, who is very comfortably on top of the CS board. And he's going to get even more so on top after he clears out a couple stacks in his own jungle. Looks like with the Robe of the Magi in his inventory, he's going to be going for a quick Orchid. And oh, mid. Man, I look away for like 1 second. They get the Avalanche Toss combo and just insta-give the Bristleback.
Well, what happens when you watch a Tiny, right? The heroes just disappear under a whole pile of rocks. But I like what K2's doing. They haven't moved the silencer anyway. They're actually giving him lane CS since the Storm Spirit has rotated out. He is slowly catching up, and he will be relevant once he hits that level 6, will be very soon. He just needs one more level, and that's going to be, they're going to relocate in onto poor Vegeta. And is there going to be any backup? There's the Avalanche, there's the Toss and the Fissure, and there's no more silencer. Too much space.
Silencer will maybe be able to survive that if he had level 6. Of course, that would involve him expending a global silence just to keep himself alive, and that's never really what you want to do. So he's probably going to be jumped like that several times over. They're going to get the Avalanche Toss combo on the Bristleback, but there is a Spirit Breaker right around the corner. He's going to charge forward looking for the Io. Does have 6 stick charges, does have 2 TPs incoming. They get the Toss up, slowing down the Spirit Breaker. Heal Bomb is there. That'll kill off one. Now they're looking for the other Fissure. It's not quite in range. It's, the Bristleback moving slightly faster, although with an Avalanche and a Toss backwards. Fissure's going to connect now. Queen of Pain's going to arrive. Sonic Wave onto 4. Bristleback's still surviving right now. Just one more hit. Centaurs might get it. No. They will secure the kill with the Io. Now they're going to turn forward for Wen. Echo Slam is there, plus the Toss. That's going to kill out the Queen of Pain and Vegeta. He's going to try to get something, but he's going to fail completely. And it's going to be no casualties for MSI. Everyone getting out so luckily. Even with a huge Sonic Wave, the fact that K2.Apes, I think, got there a little bit too scattered, a little bit too single file, is going to cost them a whole bunch of casualties.
Yeah, just going in one by one like that really killed them. And I love the Grave on the Wisp. They kept the Grave on him. He stayed alive, and I think that's what pretty much healed up the Tiny up a little bit more before he was able to turn around and just go for that combo and kill those heroes off. But really nice team play by MSI. K2 just being a little bit too spread out. And I think if they had level 6 on the silencer, that would have been a little bit different too. He's still level 5. He's not going back up top. He wants to go middle with his teammate. So it looks like they want to try and go for a push. I really think they should just get the level 6 on the silencer first, because he's really lacking in terms of utility, not having that level 6.
Kittle as well, like, the Spirit Breaker does a lot better being level 5 in the silencer, but still having that Nether Strike for a point-click stun is going to be huge when you're trying to deal with, a Dazzle, and here you have an Io to worry about. You just need a little bit of extra burst. They're going to smoke up, look for another angle in this mid lane. Now, last time it did not work well at all. So it looks like they're going to remember that and actually rotate down towards bottom, where there's actually just a Shaker teleporting in. He's going to throw a Fissure, which means he's completely defenseless, and here comes the charge. Wen is ready to go in. Blink, Scream. There's the charge to connect, and this should give, well, them close to level 6. 1 TP is coming in. Dazzle, you don't want to do this, man. Trust me, he will cancel that one. And they take a couple tower shots, but Shaker teleporting into a bad situation as it was a trap the entire time.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Traps are traps, and it looks like they're going to be able to get the tower. It's actually relatively healthy, but MSI, they're just going to give the tower away, and MSI is going to get absolutely nothing out of this, which I feel like they should try and do something. Maybe try and go for a gank, or they might relocate, because they did just bring the Wisp into the middle lane, and relocate is off cooldown, so we should keep an eye on that very shortly. RJ just going to take the bouncy rune from the Wisp right under his nose, and he's going to head back into lane. So the Storm Spirit's going to be a little bit more quiet and focused on the Orchid. This feels a little bit better for the Storm, considering that he is still squishy. If he tries to go for any sort of commitment, oh god, here we go.
Kittle's gonna get the charge out. He's gonna charge, in fact, towards mid. Where's he going? Nowhere. He's not going anywhere, so he's just gonna get out of there. Yeah, again, the lack of disables, no Shaker in the area means that it's really difficult to get those kills, but he's still kind of sticking around. Again, he would be able to stick around and actually go for an IO kill or something like that if he was level 6, and still the Silencer isn't level 6 either. Getting the kill on the Earthshaker is nice for a little bit of experience, but it's definitely not enough. These two heroes just need, like, what Ajay's getting up on top lane, the Spirit Breaker and the Silencer need that just for a couple of seconds. Silencer's going to drop for the K2.Apes side. The top lane tower is going to drop, and Storm Spirit is still working towards that Orchid. Should have that one completed pretty shortly, actually. They try to go for kill and win. Lots of burst damage. Echo Slam. Okay, there's no chance that you get the Fissure into walk-up Echo Slam against the Queen of Pain.
Unless they had another support with the Disable. Not support, but even any other hero with some sort of Disable. If they manage to just keep him locked down for maybe 0.2 of a second longer, there's a Fissure. They're going to throw the Chakram out. They can't really get Wen, though. It's a Queen of Pain. The charge is going to come in. They want to go on a cast. They're actually going to lose half HP onto Kittle, but does 2K want to commit into this? They're hanging back, though. They're thinking there could be some heroes coming in, and they might be the Tiny Wisp. The Global Silence has been deployed. They really want Sleepy on this Earthshaker. The Bristleback, the charge is going to come through. Where's the Relocate, though? It's not going to come through. They're still hanging in that top lane. They do get one kill. They're going to try and get a second one. They do finish off that Timbersaw. And is Relocate on cooldown? It's not. They're just going to stay up there and try and take that T1 tower, whereas the rest of their team down bottom is just being completely decimated.
And Cass also pretty lucky to get out of there with his life. Teleported to the tier 1, and then very quickly realized that was a bad idea, so now he has to walk back. Won't be punished for it, but Global Silence and the chasing power of K2.Apes, of course being a 3v5 certainly helps out a lot, but still, I'm pretty sure not relocating there was the correct decision. Like, there was no situation in that retreat where MSI had heroes that were actually all together and able to actually, you know, turn around and fight. If the Earthshaker was able to turn around and get a Fissure off, connect that onto 2, then a relocate should have came. But because he was insta-gib, because they had therefore no more stun, then I'm pretty sure a relocate would have just suicided the Tiny. And right now, you don't really want to die as Tiny. Hell, you never really want to die as Tiny. Who am I kidding? But 100 gold is all he needs to a completed Aghanim Scepter. So if you're that close to such a big key item, you're going to be a little bit less inclined to make these, you know, what's the worst that can happen type plays. Now he has it, so next time that happens, they're going to be a little bit more likely to go in, but Sleepy's going to get caught right now, silenced up. Netherstruck still going to survive with stick charges, but he will go down in the end. Here comes the IO Tiny combo, going to toss up towards the Storm Spirit, right clicks, and the Spirit should get the Storm kill, and now they're looking for, well, someone just TP'd out, I believe. There was a second hero here, but they get the kill on the Storm Spirit, perhaps a little bit slower than it really should be. Boomback's still not really managing his spirits very well, but hell, they get the kill anyway, and trading an Earthshaker for a Storm Spirit is a big trade, especially since Storm Spirit just picked up his Orchid. He is level 11. He is worth a lot for the MSI side, and they're going to get another Avalanche toss combo onto this Bristleback. Lots of damage, not quite enough. When blinks in, so he has Blink maxed out, so he can very soon blink out. He's still going to take a lot of damage. Here comes the charge through. Onto Cass in the back line. Another toss going to connect onto Kittle. Lots of damage with the Fissure as well as the Cleave. They'll take down the Spirit Breaker immediately. Now onto the Bristle. Avalanche, right clicks. Earn charge, not going to do it, but here comes the Timbersaw. The Saw will definitely get the kill. That's a dead Bristle right there, and 13-7. MSI taking a pretty good trade when he wants to snipe the IO, and he should. No, he's not going to get it, actually. He has a Sonic Wave, and IO's really tempting fate right now. That was a bad idea, bro, and now he's going to, well, let the Queen of Pain teleport away. No haste rune is there when he's going to grab it, knowing that it'll keep him, for the most part, safe. Ball landing in onto Cass. He's going to try to TP away, but there's so much damage from the Storm Spirit. Being level 12, they'll blow up the Dazzle, and unfortunately, only heroes that can help, Tiny and Timbersaw, aren't helping their supports. They're over in the mid lane. They're getting charged, in fact. Piano Man has no combo right now. This charge should be canceled. It's coming, I want to say, all the way from the fountain, so looks like that is not going to do much.
That was such a messy fight. Everything just happened all over the place. They're going to try and jump onto the Timbersaw, and oh my god, look how quickly he dropped. Really nice pick up there for K2, but I think the bane for MSI was the fact that their team just kind of split up, and also the Wisp getting a little bit too greedy and trying to get that Queen of Pain kill. I was questioning that decision, honestly, but he probably thought he was able to get it with the Wisp balls, but it just wasn't close enough. They're going to try and jump onto Kittle here on our Spirit Breaker, and he will get the charge up onto the Wisp. They really want to try and go onto Wisp, though. He's still very healthy, and Kittle looks like he will be finished off by the Wisp, and here Haruni's still hanging around. There is going to be the Orca thrown out onto Piano Man. Is still being healed up by the Wiz. The Global Silence has been popped though. And K2 not going to commit. Actually, they're going to go for the toss combo with the Earthshake. They're going to connect onto 3 heroes. They're going to get 2 so far. And when? Has he overextended? Looks like he has. And he is going to go down to Tiny as well. Oh, the combos. That Tiny Earthshaker combo. Who needs a Blink Dagger when you can be tossed in?
Middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that you see occasionally happening, and then like when you see the heroes together, you're like, oh, that can happen. But it actually just never happens. But when you have a 2-man Echo Slam after the toss, man, that's just so much better than anything else you're going to find. But also that only really happened because the IO has a Ghost Scepter. He was able to back off with the bottle healing up Piano Man with the urn on himself as well. And K2.Apes, they are really invested into the physical damage at this point. Yeah, the Queen of Pain has a lot of magic, but she's actually gone for a Blade Mail, so you know she's not going to get an Aghanim Scepter or anything like that anytime soon. Boombax, he is now going to go for a very fast mech. This IO is getting so much more gold than IOs usually get. Part of it is because, well, he's always sticking with Piano Man, who's sitting on a 5-1-10 score, which is always going to be really nice for any hero. But a quick mech is going to mean that this Tiny is not going to be an easy kill, and this IO is going to be an even more difficult kill. Even if K2.Apes invest everything that they have for this IO, yeah, they may get him, but it's going to take them a hell of a long time because then they have to deal with now a Bloodstone Timbersaw, a Farm Tiny, even a Dazzle, who is, you know, kind of being quiet in this game, at least a lot quieter than the IO, but can bail out the IO and just keep the heal train going. This is exactly where MSI want to be with this type of combo. Now they're going to try to go for Wen right now. Queen of Pain is going to be just fine as he does blink away, but Shaker, he's actually getting pretty close to a Blink Dagger of his own, so doesn't have to rely on that Tiny combo in the future. At least it will be an option, but not something that he's going to be 100% reliant upon. For K2.Apes, I don't think they're in a great spot right now. They're going to potentially lose the Storm Spirit. No, he does get the ball ending out, but they really needed to be ahead at this stage. Like, this is really where their team fight should be winning them pretty much every single fight. But instead, MSI are holding. They have Tiny on top of the net worth chart, and Tiny's going to be difficult to deal with.
So the average timing for Mechanism this patch is 25 minutes and 28 seconds to be precise, but 25 minutes. So this is a really, really early Mechanism on the Wisp. It's going to be a really big problem. They're going to try and jump onto Piano Man. There's no Wisp nearby either, so that's going to be an easy pick there for K2. And MSI, they weren't really going to try and help him because the whole team is trying to chase after someone else, and it's a very, very, very difficult Queen of Pain. She has a blink available, but never mind, gets blown up by Saber. Oh my god. Well, I think Queen of Pain was a little bit more squishier than I thought.
Yeah, Timbersaw turns out does a lot of damage. Fissure this time just enough stun duration, barely. And Queen of Pain actually wanted to start a fight there. Like, she was going in 1v3, and with her blink, it almost kept her safe, but almost safe means you actually died, which is unfortunate. Vegeta, speaking of almost dying, is getting hit with the Fissure. There's the Saw, and Timber Chain, Whirling Death. Well, Timber Chain not even needed. Silencer's so weak still, as only with Strength Treads he won't be able to withstand that combo for, I want to say, the entirety of this game. It's a couple of kills for MSI, however, losing their Tiny. He's on top of the net worth chart. He is getting still a lot of farm, even with that death. But they really can't afford to let Piano Man die. They really need to have this IO or Dazzle with him at all times for, you know, mech backup, relocation backup, hell, everything if they really need it. Tiny's the only hero that MSI should be really committing all their heroes to save.
But I don't think they would have been able to get there in time, and I don't even think they would have been able to get a counter kill onto K2, because remember, they've got very mobile heroes, and MSI, what other disable do they have aside from the Tiny? It's just the Earthshaker. So even if if they tried to come and save him, it would have still been a lost cause and they would have gotten nothing in return. So getting a kill on the Queen of Pain and then also getting that kill on the Silencer in the mid lane is probably the best thing that they really could have asked for. So MSI, they're doing the right thing. They're going to try and go for a tower push here, and K2, do they really want to defend? I don't think they're actually ready. Oh no, they should be ready to fight. They have the Global Silence available, but are they confident going into a Tiny Wisp?
They just don't have the manpower at this point. They're going to try to actually split push. Big Echo Slam going to catch onto the Storm Spirit. Earthshaker almost going to take this kill by himself. With the help of the Timbersaw, he will get it. The tower does fall, but over in the jungle, it's going to be Avalanche Toss combo on the Silencer. He got relocated upon, actually. And the relocate is, well, not going to do that much right now as they jump a little bit to the right. No big deal. They'll keep going for this tier 2 tower. It's a tower kill for
Dire's
K2.Apes in the mid
bottom
lane, but it's
tower
only
is
tier
under
1. They're going to lose a tier 2, and
Dire's
Silencer charge forward to the backline. It's going to be onto Boombacks. He has the Ghost Scepter, he has the Grave, and a Mechanism. He's not going to die anytime soon, though. Piano Man is dropping very quickly. There's the Tether and the Mech finally. But Piano Man, I don't know if he has enough to get out of this situation right now. He's going to try to straight TP out of here. It looks like that will succeed. So now if Boombacks dies, that's not a terribly huge deal. He gave his life so that the Tiny may live, and again, that's the play that MSI are going to have to be willing to make on this IO and on this Dazzle pretty much every single time. K2.Apes, they hold their tower. It's in deny range, though it doesn't seem like they've noticed that. They'll go straight into the Roshan pit. 37 seconds where there is no IO, which means Tiny is going to be a lot less likely, or a lot less willing to just jump in. But in the Rosh pit, the Shaker is going to be a pretty good hero. Tiny Avalanche Toss still hurts like hell. Will they get there in time, though? Because this Roshan with the minus armor from the Bristleback is pretty quick. Oh, they have Piano Man. Smoke going to break, looking for an Avatos combo. Fissure going to connect onto 3. Avatos combo is going to fail. Just an Avalanche right now. Piano Man is going to get worked down. Going to get graved up, however, so he has a couple more swings left. They will take down the Bristleback as Cass going to be focused down by Aji. Not going to work out. He does have the Aegis, though. There's a recharge initiation onto Piano Man. Blink forward. And it's not going to kill Piano Man just yet, but they will get it in the end. Now onto Saber, they're going to try to go. This Timbersaw, a difficult kill. A 17 stick charge. Now here comes the IO for the extra regeneration. They're going to get the Grave off and the Mech and keep Saber very much so alive. However, they will lose the Dazzle while that is happening. Aji's still swinging really hard right now, and they just don't have the lockdown necessary to kill off the Storm Spirit. Looking for a stun from the Shaker or something. Has a fissure now at this point, but Aji is right on top of the Shaker. Can't even give him a chance to get that spell off. Now silencing the Timbersaw. This is going to be another kill for the Storm Spirit. It looks like, oh, maybe not. He's going to fall short in the mana department. Ran his entire mana pool out. Now Timbersaw going to turn things around. Wen's going to jump right in. Another Timber Chain will kill off the Queen of Pain, though. She was not supposed to be there. Timbersaw has another Blink Dagger right now. Has a lot of mana left, although he's going to miss his Chakram. He'll land the chain. That'll end the Storm Spirit, giving Saber a double kill. Boomback's going to return and juice him right back up. As nice as it is to kill off the Tiny for K2.Apes, letting this Timbersaw get away with that many kills is super costly, because now he's up to almost 3,000 gold. An Aghanim Scepter or an Octarine Core right now for Saber will be so difficult for K2.Apes to deal with.
That greed just lost K2 the fight. I felt like that's what really happened. Just trying to go for that final Timbersaw kill just really killed off what they actually won in that team fight. If they just left, had the Queen of Pain, the Storm Spirit, anyone else that was alive just leave, then losing the Aegis and killing off the Tiny yet again, plus I think it was the Dazzle as well. Was it Dazzle and Earthshaker that died?
Yeah,
Any Timbersaw alive? That would have been the best thing for K2. Just lose the Aegis, get those heroes and get out of there. But the greed, it really killed it for him. And all of a sudden, you're going to have Saber, who's going to be sitting on a lot of gold very, very shortly. And as you mentioned, that Aghanim Scepter, it's going to make him a lot tankier, which means K2 has to commit a lot more energy into killing him. And also, they have to be a little bit more careful with their positioning, because there is going to be the 2 Chakrams. So K2, I hope they learn their lesson from this and play a little bit more carefully. The Roche fight, though, when I saw the global pop, normally you want to see K2 just roll all over MS, but the fact that they popped it after MS had already started the initiation, it was just, they were slowly getting back into it, but it just wasn't enough, I think. It could have got better.
There was a period of time where they were silenced on the MSI side, but K2.Apes were also fissure stunned, so no one was actually doing anything there. They're going to spot Vegeta, however, with the fissure. Avalanche, toss, avalanche, then toss. There we go. Not going to combo up perfectly, but it's more than enough to deal with the silencer. Not much HP still, as he's gotten a cloak since I last checked. It's a nice value item, I suppose, but it's definitely not good enough. And now it's going to be MSI not split pushing with the IO Tiny, just going to go all in on this top lane. And they might as well have an Assault Cuirass on the Tiny, plus, of course, that Aghanim Scepter. No level 3 grow just yet. But that should be coming relatively soon, and for K2.Apes, maybe they're looking for a jump in mid. No, not just yet. MSI, they're just going to keep on rolling forward. No Timbersaw, though. That's a little bit of a risky call to make. The team fight of K2.Apes is not going to be up until Silencer is back up. So Piano Man's going to get a little bit of time to wail on this tower, but even with the weave, like, this is a delicate situation for the Tiny to be in. Although they do have a Timbersaw now coming in, they're trying to force everyone in the bottom lane for K2.Apes to come up towards top. With the global silence at the ready, with Silencer now alive, MSI really can't get that much here, at least not safely. However, if K2.Apes chase too far, it may be really bad for them. Avalanche going to be deployed. There's the global silence, but to what follow-up? Tiny is going to get Shadow Struck, but he does not care about that in the slightest. It's a level 4 skill still, but yeah, he's going to take next to nothing from it. Global silence now down the tubes, and MSI are actually going to retreat. I would have thought that now that global silence is down, they would have continued their push.
Yeah, it's very interesting for MSI to back up. I think Vegeta on the silencer just got a little bit too trigger happy, thinking that maybe they had a couple more heroes than they actually had up there. Then they realized, oh crap, we actually are missing 2 people. So It's a bit of a shame for K2, but because MSI is not pushing, it's a good time. It's cooling off. It'll be down in about 90 seconds. So if MSI don't go for a push anytime soon, they're going to still have to go into another global silence. So have we got any nice item pickups for any teams? Are we waiting for anything? It looks like we are waiting for BKB on Kindle on the Spirit Breaker, which is going to be immensely helpful for him because he'll be able to go into the middle of the fray and not worry about any spell damage. Queen of Pain, he's going straight into a Hex. I don't know if he can actually accumulate enough gold though, because let's admit it, he's had a pretty rough game as his Queen of Pain.
It's still a nice item to have if she survives a team fight, as unlikely as it seems given her track record. It will give her close to enough gold considering MSI. Their Timbersaw and Tiny are so far ahead, they're worth quite a bit. They also do have the Bristleback packing a fresh BKB, has had it for quite a while, and now has a plate mail on top of that as well. And wow, Saber, yeah, we're not kidding about this Saber guy being farmed. He is closing on what looks like that Octarine. Well, still not too late for Shiva's, I suppose. Armor is certainly very nice against K2.Apes, so a lot of flexibility with his gold. And they also have a soul booster. Apes have a soul booster on the Storm Spirit, so the more HP he gets, if he gets a BKB, which I think he probably should, somewhere down the line, then MSI will no longer have any answers to the Storm Spirit unless this Sheepstick is actually going to be turned, or this Mystic Staff is going to be turned into a Sheepstick, which for Timbersaw seems like the least likely of the Mystic Staff options. It's a good item on Timbersaw, but Shiva's and Octarine are just a little bit more attractive at this stage.
I would say it's actually a good idea to have a Hex this game, because remember, look at K2's draft. They have 3 heroes that have massive amounts of mobility, and the only way to really stop it is to Hex them, aside from the Earthshaker and the Avalanche Toss. But normally, your Tiny wants to use the Avalanche Toss combo to burst someone down, not to keep them in place long enough to do damage. So, I would like to still see a Hex picked up on the Timbersaw. I feel like just having that extra bit of time for the Tiny to really chop those heroes into bits is what they really need. And oh my god, Piano Man just hitting a tower by himself and having no one on K2 to contest him. The Raxes are now available, and is MSI going to go for this push, or will they back up?
They'll teleport out with the Timbersaw, which is probably going to mean no pushing there, but hey, they commit absolutely nothing in the way of skills, probably very little in the way of manage to toss or something like that, and get a free tower. And tier 3 towers are, I mean, it's just nice gold in their pockets. Going to give Tiny a BKB, so now it's about time to ship that Quelling Blade. This Tiny is now going to be a little bit more difficult to kill off, but at the same time, they have heroes that can make this Tiny's life, or damaging life, a little bit difficult, just kiting him endlessly, and it is going to be a Sheepstick for Timbersaw. Looks like the potential value of Octarine and Shiva's guard not going to be as attractive as getting locked down in the Storm Spirit. So for the Storm, it's nice that he completed up the Bloodstone, and no one's going to deny that, but now Blink into Hex is available for the MSI side, and Saber is walking around keeping that item hidden. If he gets a jump on the Storm Spirit with a Blink Hex, there's a fissure there as well, and they kill off the Storm Spirit. Yeah, he'll be up kind of quickly because of this Bloodstone, but okay, now he's not going to keep it hidden. But either way, still, it is up, and K2.Apes really have to respect this item.
So now we're coming into towards the 30-minute mark. We've only got 2 buybacks on the map, and that's going to be our Queen of Pain and Wisp. Everyone else is just kind of using up their gold at this point because they really want to finish up their next set of items. How close is this Tiny to being 6 slot? He's still got 3 slots really if you want to change the boots too. Do you think he even needs to change boots considering he still has the Wisp? I think he could just stay with treads really.
Yeah, the attack speed is good. You're pretty much trading that off for the movement speed bonus of the travels. Like, you do get 50 extra, and that may be a little more attractive. Top lane rather, going to relocate in. Global Silence, though, is going to be there, making So Sleepy take a lot of damage, and they're going to try to go for Boombacks. Io dropping low. Echo Slam, though, does come out. Sonic Wave over the top, not going to do that much. And Boombacks still surviving as everyone chases for the Io, but the relocate out going to keep her alive. Piano Man's left here to his own devices. He's swinging the club, and he's hitting hard. Now here comes the Timbersaw, Blink Port right onto the Bristleback. That'll get a kill there, and Vegeta is now way in over his head. Io's going to return. With the extra bit of movement speed, there is 0% chance that Vegeta actually escapes here, unless Tiny misses an avalanche and then Vegeta teleports out. And that's not going to happen. That's a 4 kill for MSI. That was even relocating into a global silence, which is usually like the worst possible thing that you could ever do. But with all this focus on the Io and with the amount of farm that he has, he just wouldn't die.
If he died, then that would have been a completely different fight, but because he was still tethered to the Earthshaker and he was healing both of them up, it gave the Earthshaker enough time for the Echo Slam to keep everyone on K2 in place. So just that Echo turned the fight around for MSI. If those 2 died, much earlier, then that meant that K2 probably would have been able to clean up 2 to 3 more heroes after that. So these racks, because they're exposed, they're going to try and backdoor it with Piano Man, but the creep wave is slowly making its way over there. Now, K2, they're going to have their full draft here by the time the creep wave gets here. But do they want to engage into MSI, though? There is no global silence. If the Rax is dropping, they're going to glyph it. What do they want to do?
This is not really a strong place for a Timbersaw to fight right now. There are not many trees to go for, but the Raxes have already fallen. Charging to the back lines, they're going to try to go for Cass. Kittle immediately gets Hex sticked up, though. Now they're going to try to go for Piano Man. As Io does relocate out, or at least starting to, they'll get him out to safety. A short blink back, and Piano Man now can re-engage with BKB. Kittle, he has his own BKB up, but a couple swings from the tree. Going to put him down. Wen's going to get Avalanche Toss coming, trying to go for a Boombacks again. They'll get Cask in the end, but it's a minor win, as they do have to deal with still this huge Tiny. He's at half HP, but that's a lot of HP still. Boombacks will eventually die to the Bristleback, but in the back lines, so Sleepy and Saber, they were killing off heroes and taking Raxes. Now they're going to change the focus to the Bristleback. He's walled off, not properly, but still enough to get the kill. Stormspirit going to arrive, looking for the Earthshaker, though he has no detection. He has to go back into the high ground. Now has no mana. Blink forward for the Sheepstick. Aji going to take a lot of damage from this Timber, though he does have enough mana to get out of here. He just has to make that call and retreat. Tiny, not healthy enough to comfortably reinitiate this fight, but K2Apes, they have to buy back with this Bristleback. It does scare off MSI from going for a secondary set, but they do still get a set of Raxes. They only lose 2 support heroes, and they claim 4 heroes plus a buyback from K2Apes. It's a huge amount of gold into the pockets of MSI, and they get the objective. Nothing but wins for them.
K2Apes' problem is real. They do not have enough damage to kill off heroes before they get graved. If they were able to kill off the Wisp, then they would have been able to change targets significantly quicker, but because they spent so much time trying to kill him off and chase him down, Piano Man just went ham, so did Saber, and that meant that K2's heroes were open to being just absolutely decimated. So even with the BKB on the Spirit Breaker, right click just break a BKB essentially. So that was a horrible team fight for K2. They're going to try and go for the Roche. Everyone on MSI, they're kind of spread out actually. We've got the Dazzle nearby with this Glimmer Cape. I think he just went for a ward there. Saber's in the jungle, but I don't think MSI is going to contest this at all. Roche is going down pretty quickly, so it looks like it's going to be a free one for K2, but is this Roche really going to make a difference?
Well, Stormspirit is the best hero I still maintain in the game to have an Aegis, so him being able to go in and try to assassinate the Io or the Shaker, yeah, the upside is definitely there, but it's not enough to actually get them comfortably into any sort of position, and especially if Queen of Pain gets dropped right now, she's going to get Sheep before she can get her own off. Global Silence is there, but does Tiny care? We'll see. Blink out from the Quap, going to get her way to the north. Timbersaw going to cut through all the trees. What the hell was that Timber Chain? Right through all the trees, getting right next to the Queen of Pain. I did not expect that to actually work out, but yeah, getting the Timber Chain that close and Queen of Pain getting blindsided. She tried to turn around for a Sheepstick on the Timbersaw, and I think that turn, or the fact that the Queen of Pain had to turn around and Timbersaw did not, slowed her Sheepstick down by just a little bit. So Queen of Pain down for 50. That's 50 seconds where MSI can beat down on the structures, and with a tiny IO combo, it doesn't actually take them 50 seconds to kill all these buildings, unless they're fortifiable, which they're not. So yeah, this is going to be really tough for K2Apes to hold at this stage, especially with Timbersaw now having another Blink Hex. A lot of this MSI teamfight is going really well because of the farm of this IO. Like, this is a ridiculously farmed IO at this stage, and he is a hero that K2Apes have to kill, but while they're trying to kill IO, they are also taking damage from Piano Man, or they're building and taking damage from Piano Man, and that's good too. They're just going to land, blink forward for the Hex onto the Bristleback right now. Lots of damage, not quite enough. He does end up turning his back. Echo Slam going to connect onto 0 heroes. As they jump to the back line, try to isolate Cast. He gets 4 stats out. Glimmer as well. They're going to keep this Dazzle alive for a little while longer. And Kittle, he's going to have to make his first retreat. And out of Haruhi, he's going to go back in. That's a bad idea for this Bristle. They're just not going to do anything. Chakram going to be thrown. That will connect on Kittle. That'll get the kill. Storm's right in the middle of everything, just not doing enough damage. However, has the ball landing out. And Piano Man's BKB will eventually fade. But to what end? K2Apes still don't have their full lineup, and they still don't have a global silence. Yeah, Haruni does get out of there, and that's kind of nice and everything, but the Raxes have ball, and now they're going to reinitiate. Looking for that stun, not going to really do that much. I'm supposed to be now going to get glimmered out. There's a lot of backup here. Boomback kind of running low on mana, but Piano Man is not. Avalanche Toss combo not going to kill off the Queen of Pain, as it's still the Bristleback in the middle of everything, trying to do what he can. Luckily for him, not much CC. Fissure does eventually connect. He trapped in creeps. That would have been pretty bad, but no, doesn't matter. MSI, they don't lose any heroes. They don't kill off the Storm Spirit. That would have only been his Aegis. But they walk in, take Raxes, and walk out like nothing happened.
Well, it's the same scenario that happened last time. No matter who they jump on, they just do not have the damage output to kill them off before being grieved. Hell, even if they try and jump onto the Dazzle, there's Force Staffs, there's Glimmer Capes, there's just so much escape mechanism, escape items as well as counterplay from MSI that killing anyone is impossible unless you somehow catch them isolated or maybe someone's not paying attention. I think that would be the only way to actually kill someone on the side of MSI. If they're together, you are not killing any of them. If you can catch them separately, then maybe you might be able to grab one of them. But MSI, they know that if they just go together, then they're pretty much good to go.
This is pretty bad right now for the K2.Apes side. I mean, obviously, 2-rack is down. It's not good. But there's now Shiva's Guard on Timbersaw, and he's now pretty much impossible to kill. And there's a double damage on Tiny.
Oh my god.
725 a pop with overcharge, with crit. Like, we're actually talking one-shot status here versus the Silencer. Queen of Pain is not that much tankier either. This guy he puts battering rams to shame. He's gonna 3-shot the tower. 1, 2, 3, 4. It would have been 4 shots on the melee racks, but they cheat and fortify. They're gonna once again try to go for boombacks. As the Ghost Scepter has a Glimmer Cape, and he's gonna get Force Staffed out yet again, gonna remain alive for a little while longer. In fact, everyone's glimmered up. Finally, Dust comes in, but Tiny's ignoring all that. He's going for the objectives right now. They will take down the Earthshaker and the Dazzle finally, but now can they kill off Saber and Piano Man? Chain through from the Timbersaw. That will take down the Storm Spirit's Aegis, and they will get on top of Boombacks, bring him down as well. Piano Man, though, gonna like 2-shot the Spirit Breaker. Now gonna look towards Aji. Boombacks gonna teleport right back in with the Relocate, looking for that tether into Overcharge, although he's not actually doing that much right now. Buyback from the Spirit Breaker make this fight a little bit more difficult for the MSI side. Piano Man's getting kited, can't actually hit anyone. The IO does get out, but will Saber get out? Timber chain forward. He's now without many options. He will, what? Okay, insta respawn. I'm like, what the hell? Was the IO still there? No, the IO was back, but, you know, while that fight was happening in the bottom-ish half of that base, Tiny was, again, killing structures in literally less than 10 hits. Single digits amount of hits for structures. So, bottom line, Mega Creeps are going to be flooding K2.Apes base. The team fight was much better than previous ones, but it's too late.
It's way too late. And they don't have the counter push, they don't have the late game. I really don't think they have any way to come back into this game unless they can team wipe MSI in their base and MSI have no buybacks. But I don't really see it happening. Yeah, I just don't.
I don't think so either. Like, they were having trouble dealing with MSI before Mega Creeps, and Bristleback is okay at dealing with Mega Creeps. Queen of Pain, if she had a Sonic Wave, would be okay as well. Like, even a Aghanim Scepter's Sonic Wave is not the best because you use it on one lane and then 2 other lanes come in, and then you need 2 more Sonic Waves, and that's just not possible. So for MSI, they have all the time in the world. It looks like the Mega Creeps are already destroying the base, and K2.Apes know that right now they're losing against Mega Creeps. So once a single hero from MSI joins the fray, it is going to be the tipping point. So that is going to be GG called.
Well, that was a pretty smooth game for MSI. I don't think anything really bad happened to them. They played pretty well as a team. They did everything that they had to. They kept their cores alive. If there was someone that was being jumped on, just pop the grave, through the heals, keep them alive while the Tiny and the Timbersaw did the damage. Whereas K2, they ran a draft where they needed an early advantage and to just steamroll over MSI every time Global Silence was up. But we saw a couple of situations where even though they had the Global up, did they kill anybody? Did they roll over MSI? They struggled, even with the Global. So do you think it was a draft problem?
I don't think it was a draft problem. I think it was kind of a miscoordination problem. Like, they should have had a lot more blood on their hands through the early stages, but they simply didn't. Apes made constantly the correct play, I think, in like when the Siege team fights started happening. They kept on making the correct play of, hey, we have to kill off this Dazzle, we have to kill off this IO, or else these 2 heroes are going to absolutely wreck us. But they just couldn't at that point because the heroes were already so far ahead. So it's not like they made bad focus fire calls. They just did it a little bit too late. And that's going to give MSI the first win, guys. This is a best of 3. And as our stats man is going to point out, thank you, Petty, again, for providing some intel, extra intel that we have no idea about for the viewers. We'll be right back, guys, for Game 2. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Danelie. And yeah, don't go anywhere. That should be happening in just a little bit. Hopefully, no delays. BRB, guys.